Hi there. In today's short tutorial we're going to look at the summary of coasts. We're basically going to look at the bare minimum what you need to learn for your junior cert examination. Please remember guys to check out our website www.examvision.ie, subscribe and leave some feedback on our YouTube channel youtube.com/examvision, and follow us on Twitter and Instagram. So the first thing you need to know for coasts is the processes of coastal erosion. There's 5 of them, and these are really important that you know these. So the first one is hydraulic action. It's the sheer force of the water, the waves crashing against the coast. The second one is abrasion. This is when the rocks rub against the rocks on the bed of the sea. So the sandpaper effect. You've got attrition. Okay, this is when the rocks actually crash against each other and they break each other up. You've got solution. This is when the rocks are dissolved because of the acids in the sea. And the last one is compressed air. And this is when air gets trapped in the cracks of the rock with the swash. And as the backwash comes back out, the wave retreats back into the sea, you get small little explosions. So the next thing you need to know is you need to know some of the features of coastal erosion that are formed because of these processes of erosion. So you've got bays and headlands. You've got cliffs. You've got caves. And the last one, you've got arches, sea stacks, and sea stumps. Now you need to know one of these in great detail, and the one that I suggest you learn is cliffs, okay? So I suggest cliffs is the one that you learn, as this is very similar to river erosion landform that you would have learned, which is a waterfall. The next thing you need to know, just like the process of coastal erosion, you need to know the processes of coastal deposition. So here you need to know longshore drift and how that affects the coastline. Longshore drift. You need to know what swash is. You need to know backwash. And finally, you need to know how we stop this, how we stop longshore drift because of grinds. After you know the processes of coastal deposition, you need to know what do these processes actually create? What landforms and features do these processes of deposition create? Well, they create beaches. They create sand spits. They create sandbars and lagoons. They also create tombolos. And finally, they create sand dunes. Just like with coastal erosion, you must learn off one. Okay, you must learn off one, and the one I suggest you learn is bars and lagoons. Okay, this is the one I suggest learning. If you don't know it, you can check out my other videos, and I go through this in very good detail and give you everything you need to get full marks in this question. So check out my other video if you don't understand this one. It would be on features of landform and coastal deposition. The next thing you need to know is you need to know how humans interact with the coastline. And what human activities do humans do around coastlines? So there's a few things. Coastlines attract a lot of holidaymakers, and they will influence and change the area around the coast. Traffic is one. Increased amount of traffic. Pollution. You get different types of pollution: litter pollution, noise pollution, air pollution, sound pollution. And visual pollution. The other one is sewage. Can damage the environment. And the very last one is we can have more oil spillage. And if there's more oil spills, this can lead to devastating effects on the marine life. So you need to know one or two of these and how the humans change and actually interact with the coastline. The one I suggest you learn is pollution and traffic congestion. And the very last thing you need to know is how humans have tried to protect our coastline. How do we actually protect our coastline? There's a few different ways. The first one is by using grinds. Grinds stops longshore drift. The second one, you've got seawalls to stop sea erosion. You've got gabions to stop undercutting, eroding at the cliffs. And the last one is boulders. And we put the boulders at the end of our beaches to stop and slow down the rate of erosion. Okay guys, that's it for today's summary of coasts. What you need to know, if you know everything on this page, you'll be absolutely fine. Please make sure that when you're answering a question, say on features of coastal landforms, like of erosion, and you do cliffs, make sure you talk about these 4 processes of erosion, okay? So many students describe cliffs, but they don't actually then explain how processes of coastal erosion make these features. Same with this one, where it features and landforms of coastal deposition. If you're talking about bars, lagoons, or spits, or beaches, or whatever it might be, make sure you link it back to the processes of coastal deposition. These are the processes that create these landforms. You need to know how humans interact with the coastline, and maybe 2 ways in which the coastline, we try to protect our coastline. Grinds for longshore drift, seawalls for coastal erosion, gabions for undercutting at cliffs, boulders to slow down the rate of coastal erosion. Thanks guys, I hope you enjoyed the video. Please remember to leave me some feedback.